Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening. Hello, welcome wherever you are in the world. My name is Michelle. I'm the Community Associate at MUJI, and I'm very happy to see you all today. I hope that your January has been going great. Today, we have Alexis from LUM Studies to show us how to organize our desk and also to set up a bullet journal for the new year. Just before we get started, I do have a few announcements, so I'll keep it very brief. At any point, if you have any questions, please ask them in the Q&A box so Alexis can see them. And we will also be typing out all the answers for you during the webinar so that you can read them out whenever you need to. Also, we will be sending out an email after the workshop with a list of products that Alexis uses today, as well as the link to a survey that you can fill out to let us know how we did and if you have any other suggestions for a future workshop with us. So I think that's everything from me. I'm going to now ask Alexis to start her video whenever she's ready. Hi, Alexis. Hi.
Hey, Michelle, thank you so much for the
Awesome.
introduction.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, you can just introduce yourself a little bit, and then we could just jump right into the workshop. That's everything from me. So yeah, here's Alexis, everyone.
Sounds good. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to the workshop today. My name's Alexis. Today, I'll be sharing with you guys my current desk setup, why it works for me, and how you can also keep your desk organized, but also making sure it doesn't make you feel too stressed. I'll also be showing a couple easy bullet journaling spreads or techniques. I'll be showing you an example and then showing you or going along with you on how to create it. And I guess for a bit of an introduction, my name's Alexis. I'm a computer science student here in the Greater Toronto area. And currently I'm doing an internship. So I sit at my desk all day. And it's really important to me to have a really good desk setup just because I'm here all the time and I want to make sure it's functional and make sure that it's a happy place to be in. So I guess I'll start off by sharing with you all my desk. So I'm just going to switch over to my phone. So here is one corner of my desk setup. Let me just move the laptop a bit. And as you can see, there's the Muji acrylic drawers, and there's also some nice pictures on the wall on a little grid and some plants, which is technically not on my desk, but a bit on the side. I think this drawer works really well for a desk just because of its size. It comes in a couple different sizes, and the one I have is the 3-drawer. And I think the 3-drawer is really perfect because it's actually just a bit shorter than my monitor over here. So it fits really nice in the corner, and since it's clear, it's really easy to see all the different things I have. And it makes it really easy to say, if I want to grab a notebook, I can know exactly where it is, and it makes this process really fast. And just because it's clear, it also helps me, or it's kind of a motivation of why do I need to keep it organized? It's because I'll always see it from my desk. So having it organized just kind of reduces the amount of stress I have, and it's very satisfying to me to see everything really organized. For example, over here in the bottom drawer, I'll have one of these bullet journals, which is the brown one. And then I'll also have a notepad and maybe some additional papers, such as this one for my planner. So this drawer, the bottom one, I like to place the biggest items just because it's in the bottom and it's just really clear to see. And then over here in the next drawer, I have some couple other notebooks as well as a notepad and some washi tapes that I haven't gotten around to using yet. So over here in the notebooks, I like to just spread them out a little so it can cover the entire space. And I think it makes it really easy to see and really easy to grab the notebook when you need it. And this notepad, similarly, there's nothing really underneath because I think it takes up an adequate amount of space and it's really accessible. And then the top drawer over here, there's a bit more stuff just because it's the top drawer. So it's probably the drawer I open the most and use the most. A big part of this space is taken up by the planner I have. I'll be showing you guys this planner later today, also when we're doing the bullet journaling. But I think this planner is a really nice size. It's the B6 size, I think. And it fits really perfectly in the drawer. I can still have enough space for other things like pens or sticky notes. So I think it fits really well in here. And normally I wouldn't have these two notebooks on top, so I could also see the planner. And then right now on top, I have just 2 more planners since I'll be showing you guys some of the planners or some bullet journaling spreads. And I think adding some decoration or just things that make you happy around your desk is something I've been trying to incorporate more because I'm always sitting at my desk. For example, on this grid, there's like a few small things that I really like, or these are all things I really like. I feel like the little sumo paper bag is pretty funny and it's pretty amusing to just have around, especially when I'm always looking at my monitor. Also closer up, over here on the right, it's actually one of Muji's sticky notes. It's one of their weekly planners or weekly sticky notes, I guess. I really like this sticky note because I can write down things I have to do every week. For example, on Mondays, I'll always have a team meeting for work, or on Saturday, I want to always water my plants to make sure they're well fed. And I think this is just a really great reminder so that I don't forget, because sometimes these weekly things, it's easy to forget. And just like having small little doodles with the craft paper sheet, I think that's really cute as well. I personally really like the craft paper texture and color. I think having a lot of white stationery, I think just because paper is white, the craft paper adds a lot of just variety to it and gives in a little different texture as well. I also have a couple of plants over here. I think like I started I got my plants a couple months ago and they brought me a lot of joy just because I really enjoy seeing them grow. And there's many benefits to having these plants as well. For example, like purifying air, helping with concentration. But for me personally, I just really enjoy the greenery in my room and watching them grow. So that's one corner of my desk. And if I zoom out a bit more, that's actually, I guess, like a good third of my desk. A big majority of my desk is actually taken up by my monitor, just because I'm working or I'm doing an internship right now. So I'm at my computer all day. I wanted to make sure my monitor is adequate. I'm having maximum productivity and just making sure that it's set up to the right level as well to my eyes. So that's a pretty big part. And I think having it on the little monitor stand or the arm is really convenient just because I can clear up all the space underneath. So right now I just have a couple different plates. So the empty plate is where I actually will usually put my glasses, but I'm currently wearing them. And to the plate on the right, I have just some small things that I use a lot throughout the day, for example, like lip balm or hand cream. I think having these little plates on top of the desk just make it a little more decorative, but also a little more organized as well, because you could group items, have different plates for different items, or just different categories of things. And over here, I have a small little Muji calendar. I think this is a really cute size just because it also fits right underneath my monitor. And it's a nice size to just get a good view of the month. So that's really nice to have just in the bottom. And over here to the right, I'll have a couple of pens or stationery. I actually don't end up writing too much these days other than bullet journaling. So I find I actually use the scissors the most just for all the arts and crafts I do. There's also the Muji Aroma Diffuser over here to the right. This is a really nice diffuser, I think, because it's just such a nice size. It fits perfectly on my desk. I'll be talking a bit more about it as I bullet journal as well. But I've tried out the Yuzu scent, and it's really relaxing. So I really enjoy using it all the time. And oh, sorry, let me go through some of your questions right now.
Yeah, there's
Grid
just
on
a
the
few questions.
Yeah, sorry about that. The grid on the wall is not a Muji product. I actually got it from a local stationery store. So maybe you can look around as well. For my PC specs, I actually have a MacBook Pro. It's an older one. It's from 2017, but I mostly use just the external monitor because the screen is bigger. And it's a 27-inch 4K monitor. It's the Dell 2721Q, I believe. The planters, I actually got the plants from Home Depot, and I also got the plant pots from Home Depot as well. For my desk size, it's around 120 centimeters by 80 centimeters. If I zoom out a bit, my monitor takes up the vast majority of the desk, but it is quite deep, so this mat I have takes up quite a lot of space as well. And I really enjoy the depth just because I can fit so many things and I don't have to look at my monitor too closely. And yeah, the last question about the plant pots, yeah, they're from Home Depot. Yeah, I guess that's about the back of my desk. Just a bit more about that desk. I also have a keyboard here. which is also an external keyboard just because I'm always using the monitor. The keyboard is actually a custom built. I believe the case is the Tofu 65 in E white, and the keycaps came from a different keyboard called the Ducky Maya Pro Mac Edition. It's an aluminum case, so it's quite hefty and it does require a cable, but I really enjoy the sound of it and the feeling of it is really nice, especially with the desk mat. I feel it feels very supportive. Another question about the bear. I actually got the bear from a different store. I believe I got it a year ago, so I don't remember too well. And this phone stand I'm using is actually going to be for the bullet journaling portion, and I got it off of Amazon. Yeah, so that's about it for my desk setup. I think there are a couple of things that are pretty important, in my opinion, about de-stressing. I personally really like having a clean desk, so I'll keep it organized, but I also remind myself that you don't always have to have an organized desk because that can be quite stressful and it can be quite tiring to always think like, oh no, my desk is messy, I need to clean it up. So rather, I think it's important to just take some time out of your day or out of your week and maybe at the end of the week, just clean up your desk, like maybe rearrange some things, bring in like items like a stuffed animal bear that makes you happy. That personally helps me a lot as well. And I think another thing about just like minimizing stress is that to remind yourself that your desk setup doesn't have to be perfect. I definitely always change my desk setup around and I just do whatever I feel like at the moment that I feel like looks really nice because perfection is really hard and really tiring in my opinion. So rather, I think it's more important to just strive for whatever works for you and whatever brings you joy. Yeah. For some other couple of questions. Oh, sorry. Actually, I've answered these. Okay. I guess I can move into the bullet journaling portion now. I'm just going to rearrange the camera angle.
We do have a few questions about desk lights and also if you had a smaller space, would you have any absolute essentials other than what you have now?
Yeah. So I actually don't use a desk light, which might not be the best. I think it's because I do a lot of my work in the daytime or at the nighttime. I'm mostly on my monitor, so that light is pretty bright or it's sufficient for me. I Yeah, I guess it would be really nice to have a desk light. Sometimes when I'm doing work at night, it can get a little hard to see and I actually turn around to use my bedroom light instead. The Muji Aroma Diffuser actually has a light that I found out recently about, and it's really nice. Let me just show you really quickly. So there's two different settings to the light. This is the brightest. I wouldn't say this is a replacement for a desk light, but this is a nice bonus feature, I think, to the Aroma Diffuser. And in terms of a smaller space, I think the essentials for me is probably, I guess this is quite hard, but I really actually enjoy the technology and all the tech on my desk just because I use it all the time and I found it to be quite life-changing in my opinion. I used to always just do like all my work, all my coding, all my schoolwork from my 13-inch MacBook Air. I mean, sorry, 13-inch MacBook Pro. And I didn't find any problem with it. But after I switched over to a monitor, I found that I was able to fit so much more on the screen and I feel so much more productive. I wouldn't have to waste too much time like switching between different applications or anything. I could open everything up. And having the external keyboard and mouse was really nice as well, just because I don't need to always be so close to the laptop screen and having it apart just, I think ergonomically, it's a lot more comfortable. I think another absolute must-have I would say is these small little just like trays or little plates. I feel like this adds a lot of character or just uniqueness to my desk. I feel like without them, there would definitely be some like empty sections in my desk that might feel like, oh, I need to put something here. But not only do these serve like decorative purposes, I think they're quite practical and functional as well. For example, otherwise like all my lip balm, hand cream, they would all just be over my desk and it'd be a bit of a mess. Yeah, I think the acrylic drawers is really nice, but you can also stack things on top of it. For example, if you had a smaller desk, like maybe you can stack some of these trays or calendar or stuffed animal or plant pens on top of it. So that'd be a really great way as well. Let me just go through the questions as well. For the MacBook Pro, is there a specific cable that I need to connect to an external monitor? I believe you can just get an adapter that has HDMI support. In my case, I actually needed a USB-C to DisplayPort cable because I wanted to show 4K at 60 Hertz, but depending on whatever technical specs you need, you might be able to just use a normal adapter and HDMI cable. Another question is, how do I prevent clutter on my desk? So I guess my desk doesn't always look like this. There are definitely times when it's a lot messier, but I think at those times it's okay too, as long as you just take some time to clean up your desk or clean up your space and make sure it works for you. If you find out like maybe I always have a hair tie or like I always have this specific item on your desk and you end up always putting it away, maybe you could think about, is there a way I can like permanently store this item at my desk? For example, I found out I actually use a hair tie a lot. I have one somewhere behind in one of these trays. So I think that was what helps me prevent clutter. Yeah, if that's all the questions for now, then I'm going to move on to the bullet journaling portion. Just going to adjust the angle and get some supplies. Like another question is about what's the best way to organize electrical cords around a desk. I actually have a lot of cords as well. My adapter has quite a lot of cords. I actually have a cable for my keyboard, for my monitor, for my laptop charger, and my phone charger. A lot of this is actually just hidden below and underneath my desk. But I'm quite lucky that my desk underneath has this cable management area or this kind of net where you can organize your cables. I also like to use cable ties to just tie up some of the cables I don't need. And my monitor arm actually has some built-in cable management where I can put some of the cables together. And yeah, so I guess let's start with the bullet journaling portion. So I guess to maybe preface this section, I think bullet journaling can come off as a very stressful hobby or a very intimidating hobby just because I've seen lots of pictures where people have really beautiful spreads that take so much time and effort, and it could be quite just intimidating to even start or not knowing where to start or being scared that it's not going to look the way you want. But I think another way to think about it is it's just a form of self-expression, and it's just another hobby you can use to reflect on your lifestyle or plan on your lifestyle. So it's important to just know, as long as the purpose of bullet journaling, I guess, is kind of met and you're having fun with it, I think it just helps with all the intimidation you might feel. Because I personally felt that as well in the beginning. I thought it was a lot of work, and I thought, like, how would I be able to bullet journal for so long? But it's just something, I guess you don't always have to create like overly complicated spreads. You can do really simple ones. And those will be some of the ones I'll be sharing with you guys today. Yeah. So one of the spreads I've made is actually a monthly spread, and you don't need any specific planner for this. You could use a plain notebook, a grid notebook. You could even use a lined notebook. I personally really like these plain ones as well as the grid ones because you get so much flexibility and freedom with it. This monthly calendar, I know calendars are often used to plan things, but another way you can think about it, you can also use them to reflect on your past month. For example, I made this one for the month of December. I thought it was the last month of 2020, and why not reflect on it and just see how did the last month go by so quickly? So rather than writing down events that I have to go to or events that are upcoming, I like to write down events that were maybe really significant or they were just an event I wanted to remember. So for example, I have some of the assignments due dates. I also had some of my final exams, but the spread is quite simple just because there's not too much space to write in each square for the day, but there's also lots of space you can use to decorate with markers or pens or stickers. I personally really like adding different stickers to a spread just because I really like the view or the look of these stickers. I think it just makes the spreads a lot cuter, and in my opinion, just really nice. Um, Sorry, just checking if there's any questions. Yeah, so I'll be coming back to this spread about how to do it, but for now, I'll just show a couple different other spreads. So this is the Muji Planner that I've been starting to use. Let me just adjust the camera a bit. Yeah, this is the Muji Planner that I've been using recently. I thought it was a really nice size, and I actually had a black one before, but I thought I'd try the white one just to lighten up my space and just adding a little sticker to decorate it. And yeah, I also have these nice little tab indexes here. I think these are really convenient to mark, whether in your bullet journal or actually even if you're studying in your notes. Currently, I use them to separate between these little monthly calendars versus the weekly view. So as you can see in the monthly view, I did quite a similar thing as what I did in the previous spread. This one right now, I've just written down as well, just some important dates or events I really wanted to remember, and having little decorations using markers and pens. And another thing I really like is actually these Muji sticky notes. These are these craft paper sticky notes that look like this. They come in this size and they actually stick really well, which I really enjoy because some sticky notes, you end up getting them just like lifting all the time. And I think one thing that really works well with these sticky notes is, sorry, let me just, is it's these grid washi tapes. I think this is really nice for making, this is really nice for making lists. So for example, over here, I've made a list of things to do. I'll also be going over this spread just in a bit about how to make it. Let me just go through some of the questions. So one of the questions is if I have any recommendations on where to find journaling prompts and my experiences specifically. And do I have a preference towards using notebook and pen or using computer apps or phone apps? So I think I actually prefer using phone apps or computer apps to organize and actually keep track of my events, just because I can sync them across devices and changing it is a lot simpler. So I end up using that to track like my school assignment due dates or maybe a dentist appointment or doctor appointment. I think bullet journaling for me is more of a reflection period, or I use it to, it's more of like an art and more of like a crafting hobby. So I wouldn't say I use it personally for productivity wise, but I'd use it for more for reflection. And it's also another very calming and peaceful hobby to me. In terms of journaling prompts, I actually will open up my calendar for like maybe the past month and look through some of the events and like see if I remember anything about them. For example, maybe I saw like I had a math exam and maybe I'll be like, oh, like that didn't go too well, and I'll think about like why was that so and write down some of my feelings. I think this really helps for maybe the next time I have a math exam because I can reflect back on that and see like what should I do better this time. And yeah, I think bullet journaling isn't something you have to do every day, just because it can be quite time consuming, especially when you're making more complicated spreads. For me, I like to do it maybe once a week or maybe a couple times a month. It really just, as long as, I don't think you have to do it every day. I think as long as you just take some time out of your day, whatever works for you, maybe not take some time out of your like week or month, whatever works for you, as long as you know you don't forget about bullet journaling. And yeah, I guess another quick spread that I'll be showing you today is, or a couple two more, is the weekly view. So in this planner, we have a weekly view where we have like the days and rows for them. And we'll also have the right side, which is a blank sheet. I personally really like this as well, just because of the space on the right, but the left side has a nice template, which is really easy to follow, but it also gives you enough space um, to personalize it and customize it however you want. Normally, I'll just write down some days, maybe add small decorations like a star with like some little lines to make a shooting star. And on the right over here, I'm using grid washi tape. The checklist washi tape. I actually really like this and I've used it in several places because it's a really neat, or it's a very organized way to get checkboxes, and you can have them in a very nice straight row, which can be sometimes hard to do, especially when you're making a lot of these checkboxes. And using the same craft paper over here, I just drew another sketch of my plush Shiba and added some washi tape on the side to decorate it a little, and small little doodles like eggs. And then another quick, or this is not really a spread. This is more, I'll talk about a bit more about this later, but this is just a different way to decorate. I personally really like this craft paper, as I mentioned, just because the color and texture is really different from all the other sticky notes I have. So I really like mixing up that variety with different washi tapes or even different shapes like this cat one. And the Muji has a really nice set of cat sticky notes that I find really cute, and it adds just a lot of fun to your bullet journal spreads. The size of my planner, let me check the paper. I believe it's a B6. Oh, it's actually a A6, monthly, weekly planner. Yeah. But I'm not too sure what the paper is made out of. Maybe Michelle will know. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
usually, I'm not sure about the planners, but usually our notebooks are the smooth type, and usually they're the A4 station paper, but that's all the information that I know about that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I guess now we can start. I'll go along with creating a spread with you all. So the spread we'll create first will be this monthly view, just because I think this is really simple to do. And you can do this with really just a pen, a ruler, and all the other things are really extras for if you want to decorate it. So I'm just going to put this to the side so we can reference it. And yeah, I'll be using the Muji the double ring notebook with dotted paper in the A5 size. I really like that Muji actually has so many different sizes of notebooks. Sometimes I even mix up the sizes, but because these spreads are quite versatile, it really works well for any size of notebook. Let me just answer a couple more questions. What do I write in my weekly planner? So if we go back to my weekly planner, I write a lot about things I have to do, for example. I guess it might be a little difficult to read, but for example, on January 4th, it was my first day of work. So I just wrote like, what were some of the things I had to do? And then, for example, if there's just like a blank day, I can just write like relaxing day, or like maybe I did some baking, I'll write what I baked. Yeah, so to start off with this one, I will actually create the lines with just a normal pencil and a ruler, because I tend to measure the boxes incorrectly and have to erase them. So yeah, if you have your notebook open, or you can open your notebook and just grab a pencil, a ruler, and we'll use a pen later to create the outlines. And I guess sometimes it can be hard to center your grid because you have to do quite a lot of measurements. So I will sometimes count the dots or count the centimeters, or use a ruler and measure it. So let's just do that now and see how long this paper is. So it's about like 21 centimeters. Let's just say we take off like maybe like 4 centimeters from the side, or just at this line or at this dot. You don't have to do exactly this measurement. You can do whatever works for you or whatever you think will fit really well. So sometimes I might be wrong and they might actually be a bit off, but even if it's a bit off, I think that's okay as well, because you can just add extra decorations on one side or another. I'm also just gonna grab an diffuser real quick. Yeah, and I guess for the standard calendar, it's 5 rows and 7 columns. So I'm just going to measure that out. Right now, I like to just draw a straight line first and see, and then yeah, draw a straight line first and then measure out the actual sizing. But I also like to leave some space at the top just because we want to write the month or some other things. So I'm actually going to move down a bit. So maybe something this size, or if it seems a little small, you might want to add an extra line. And we could start to count the squares a little. So normally I would do maybe like 1 centimeter or half a centimeter for the top row where I write the days of the week. But since we have a grid here, we can just measure out 1 dot or 1 grid size. So that'll be our first row. One of the questions, yeah, I actually got this checklist washi tape from Muji. And yeah, I'll definitely zoom in a bit more on the planners towards the end. Yeah, sorry about that. So you can see some more of the details. Yeah, so I'll start off with like maybe one row or 1 grid size for the days of the week. And then for the other grids, for the squares, let's just say four dots. Or if you have a set of ruler or centimeters, or if you have a ruler, you could do it in centimeters as well. And yeah, during this process, sometimes I'll realize I actually measured wrong and I'll just end up making changes accordingly, which is why it's really good to use a pencil for the first step. Yeah, for example, I actually measured it off by a little. So we're gonna add an extra felt to the bottom. And then I'm gonna do something similar where I'm gonna create the horizontal grid, or I'm gonna measure the squares horizontally. So I'm gonna do 4 as well, and just keep doing that until I have 7 boxes. I would say this is probably the most tedious part of the spread just because there's a lot of measurement and you want to make sure, or you want to try to make everything equal, even though sometimes mistakes will happen. So right now we have 5. Yeah, so it looks like this original line was a little off, but that's okay. So now I'll go ahead and just create lines at all those places where I measured so we can create that grid. To make the bullet journaling process really calming or relaxing to me, I usually will play music, just whatever music I've been listening to recently, and also turn on the Aroma diffuser. I think the Aroma diffuser looks really nice with the light. I had it on when the sun was setting and it just made the room look really relaxing and also smell really nice as well. So yeah, I guess we can go ahead. It doesn't really matter whether you start from the top or bottom. How long is the vertical line? So right now I have it as 4 by maybe like 21 centimeters or 21 grids, 21 cells long. Let me move this in a little more so you can see. But yeah, the sizing will depend on your journal as well. I think it's really nice doing this with a grid notebook just because you can line up the dots really well so you can make sure all your lines are straight because I know I've definitely drawn a lot of crooked lines when I've been making this spread. So that's one thing I really like about this. Oops, how do I set up my weeklies? Do I? Actually don't make weekly planners that weekly spreads too often just because I use bullet journaling more for a reflection of like a longer period of time. So I actually really like preset planners, for example, Muji's that have a weekly section, but also have some free section. So if I do choose to do some weekly planning, I can just follow or go through the template, but also be able to customize a lot of it. yeah, so we've done all the vertical lines. Now we just do the horizontal. And I guess if you're really brave, you can always go ahead and do this first in pen because doing it twice can be time consuming. But I know that I personally make lots of mistakes, so I just prefer doing it in pencil. Oh, let me just move this. I actually really like this ruler from Muji as well. It's probably one of my favorite rulers because it really does the job what a ruler does. It doesn't have a lot of like fancy things. It's clear, so you can also see like all the stuff underneath. Maybe you realize like, oh, my line's actually crooked, or I said something else that was crooked. And yeah, so now we've already created the template we really need. I guess that is a bit of a tedious work, but I personally really like drawing this grid just because it's so clean and sleek and it's relatively simple, or the steps are relatively straightforward. So I'm just going to go ahead and erase some of the additional lines I drew before. And then normally I would go through all of this in pen. So we could do that now. Yeah, let me just fix some of these lines. And then we can go into decorating, which is probably my favorite part of it. So for pens, I actually really like the 0.38 pens, gel pens for writing notes, because I think you were able to just like write more notes in a smaller amount of space. But then for bullet journaling, sometimes you need those thicker lines. So I'll use like a 0.5 pen for like the grid. And yeah, sometimes you'll see the pencil marks underneath. Sometimes I'll erase them, or usually I will, but I make sure I wait for the pen to dry first so I don't have any smudges. And sometimes I'll just go over it twice to make the line a little thicker. And the thing I really like about bullet journaling is that you can really personalize it, or really adjust it to your preferences, to your lifestyle as much as you want, because at the end of the day, it is for you to just relax or reflect on, or use it for productivity. And to me, seeing all these straight lines at the end, having a really nice template is really satisfying, to just see the organization and the consistency. Yeah, so now we're just going to do the horizontal lines as well. And this should be the last tedious part we have to do. And the rest of it will be pretty fun. Or just, I guess, a different type of fun from drawing lines. Yeah, apologies for the camera shake. My pen keeps hitting the camera stand. And yeah, that's the grid we have. This is pretty much just the grid we have. Yeah. Oh, another question is about how do I track habits or recurring to-do lists? Yeah, I'll definitely go into that in a bit later. So yeah, now that we have this grid, we can go ahead and just write some of the dates. I personally, in this planner, I've actually just written them in all capital letters and just highlighted them later using the colors or the markers I've been really liking. You also use washi tapes for this. Muji has this really nice weekly these days washi tapes. Let me just pull them out of my drawers. Yeah, you can write them however you want. I personally really like writing or bullet journaling in capital letters. I feel like I just like the look of my handwriting more in capital letters. Yeah, Muji has this washi tape where you have the days of the week. We could use this as well, and you can cut them and put them in top. So why don't we do that? So we can also for me, I like having my calendar start on Sunday just because I'm really used to that type of calendar, but you can change it to Monday or whatever day really works best for you. So yeah, now that we've cut it, let's just cut out each of the days a week. So I like to, maybe we can just put it in the middle here. I think the nice thing about this washi tape is that you don't have to worry about like consistent handwriting or size just because it's all already done for you. I think for bullet journaling, it can be really tempting to do everything from scratch because you want it to really embody your views or your personality. But I think using pre-made items such as like pre-made washi tapes or with like these dates or checkboxes is convenient because you can reduce like the amount of work you have to do and you can focus a lot more of your energy on like creative things, for example, like how will I decorate it or what colors will I use? Now I'm just going to go ahead and cut the rest of the dates and stick them. Oh, I think I accidentally started on Monday just because of the order of the stickers, but that's all right as well. So yeah, now we have a pretty nice template. I think some of my stickers might be a little misaligned, but that's okay. Yeah, I guess since I like to use bullet journaling for reflection, rather than doing a spread for February, I'll actually do one for January. I'm just gonna open, or I have a calendar right here on my desk. I'm just gonna reference it, and I like to write the dates in like just the numbers in like the top left corner, rather small. So January started on a Friday. So I'm just gonna go ahead and write all the numbers. I like to do this in black just because it matches the grid or the template or the outline of the calendar, but you can always do this in different colors. Or yeah, I personally will like to add color through maybe circling some of the dates or highlighting some of the dates. And I think another thing with bullet journaling is you can always do your steps like whatever pace you want. Like you can do the spread over multiple days, you can do it all at once. It's really flexible because there's not many constraints on it or there's no real due date to it. So if you're feeling tired anytime, you can always just take a break and do something else. Or if you're tired of something else, you can always go to bullet journaling. Great, it seems like January just fit perfectly in here. And then I like to always, I like to just bring some of the highlighters or markers that I really like to use. I'm going to use the same three colors I used in the spread, just because I really like the combination of the pink and the blue and the yellow. And I like adding small little doodles just to bring some more just different elements into the calendar. And then I guess we can also write the month of the month at the top. I normally just do this in pretty normal handwriting because I find decorative handwriting sometimes to be intimidating. I've done some calligraphy myself, but I feel like it's hard to fit in small spaces, and I will just do normal handwriting instead. So I guess we can do it in the center, which is around here. Yeah, this is pretty simple. So you can decorate it with like maybe some little lines over here, maybe some over here, and we can add some color to it later as well. And normally at this time, I'll also open up my calendar on my laptop or on my phone to see what events did I do in the month. So I'm just gonna do that really quickly. And I think I guess I can go a bit more into this later, but the thing I really like about the sticky notes is you can always place them, you just stick them on top of a calendar, and this gives you more real estate, especially if you have a smaller planner. This could be really nice to do. And because it is a sticky note, you can easily just like take it on and off. Yeah, so for example, on January 4th, it was my first day of work. So I'll write like first day of work. And usually for these boxes, I'll only have enough space for maybe like one event. So I would try to pick like, if there are two events, I try to pick the bigger of the event. Or if you want, you can always like write a little smaller to fit both events. For example. And the week tape is actually from Muji. And then I guess another thing I have, for example, is the Muji workshop today. So on the 27th, I'd go ahead, write Muji workshop. Or maybe on like the 15th to 16th, 17th, I had a hackathon. So I'd write, oops, there's like, if you have an event spanning multiple days, I guess there's a lot of different ways you could write it. One of the ways I really like writing it is just like writing the word along the bottom or even the middle. And you could just write like hackathon. And then this is where I'd use my ruler and just go along the 3 days and draw a line across. So it's more clear that the event spanned multiple days. I think this is really nice, and this is just an easy way to have an event span multiple days. I guess since I'm on I'm on an internship right now instead of school, I don't have many the school due dates. So if I did have school due dates, I might only put in a few of them, maybe some of the more significant in, just because there are definitely a lot more due dates than this calendar can fit. Another event, like maybe on the 13th, I did like baking, like made some cookies. I'd rate like made cookies. And I think the thing I really like about bullet journaling is that I'm writing it so it's all my handwriting. I think that gives it a lot of personalization. And just looking back at it, you can always see like how did my handwriting change, or like how did like my style change? And I feel like that's something really cool. I've been bullet journaling for like maybe 3 or 4 years, and some of my earlier spreads were very decorative because I was really new to bullet journaling and I wanted to try new things. And now I've slowly been finding that I like the simpler ones because they work better for me and I have a lot of fun making them. And I guess another event maybe on the 8th, maybe made pasta. And let's say maybe that's all the events I have. It doesn't matter really if you have maybe like fewer events than you expected, because we can always add like small decorations. For example, the 4th, I'll just circle it because it's a work event. Maybe another work event I would do like, let's just add in an extra work event so we can use the same color coding. Let's just say meeting at 4 p.m. You don't always have to color code your circling of the date, but I guess it's just something nice you can add. It might be a bit difficult to see, I'll bring it closer, but you can add a small little circle at the top left corner. So you can just add some color to your spread. I'm just going to go ahead and do that with my other events as well. I think this is a really nice way to add color because it's so subtle. So even if you make a mistake, that's okay as well. So yeah, now we're slowly incorporating color. I guess it might be a little hard to see the color, but if I bring it a bit closer, you can see it. Another thing I like to do is start just adding little doodles. I'm personally not the best drawer or artist, so I actually will just do really simple doodles, like maybe an egg, because I feel like an egg shape is pretty cute and it's relatively simple to do. This might not even be the bestest of eggs, but that's okay. It's the effort. You can add other things like maybe a small leaf or two. I think these are really simple doodles you can add, and you can even color them in with the markers, for example. So I'll just color in the egg yolk and maybe color in the leaves.
I don't mean to interrupt you, Alexis, but someone's asking what markers you're using to color in things.
Oh yeah, I actually got these markers quite a few years ago, so if you see they're quite worn out. Let me try to read the label. I think this is called, it's in French, so I'm probably not going to pronounce it too well, but it's, I'm sorry, let me just wait for the camera to focus. It's called Le Stilo. Yeah, maybe if you look online, you could find these. I really like these pens. I actually haven't gotten a second set of them, but I really like. They have a really thin tip and a really thick tip. I have mild liners as well, but I find the tip of them to be a little too thick, especially when I'm doing small coloring or small outlines like this. Yeah, so those are some really simple doodles. Another doodle I could do is, or sometimes I would do is just like, or a doodle I do a lot actually with markers is drawing stars. I think stars are really easy to do and they look really nice, so it's really easy to decorate with it. So you could draw a little star like that, draw some lines like that, and that's just a really nice way you can add it. I think because of the thickness of the marker, it'll be nicer to see the color as well. So that's really nice to just add more color, add more decoration. I actually might do this like a couple of times and you can see them as throughout. Another thing you could do is maybe you want to just add some like triangles, some geometric shapes. I've done that in my past planner and I thought that was pretty cute and a nice way to add color. I think the thing I like to do, or a thing I tend to do a lot with bullet journaling, is the base of it will be usually in just like a regular black pen, and then I'll add decorations on top with colors. This just allows me to have a versatile plan from the beginning because maybe I want to change my color theme, and that'll be really easy to do. So maybe you just want to add circles and triangles, or just like even a squiggly line. You can color this in. You can go ahead and do this with like a normal black pen as well, just adding little stars or adding like a shape that's just a line with two lines through it as well. It looks really simple, it's really easy to do, and I will do this just throughout the planner, and then I'll start to fill up a little, which is really pretty. And then I will also pick out a washi tape I want to use. I have quite a lot of washi tapes, so sometimes it can be difficult to find one that you feel like using. One of the ones I like a lot is this Muji. It's kind of like a wave pattern, and you can just decorate it as well. The tape is quite thick, so I actually will cut it up to be a little thinner, to be around half the size, so that we can fit it in some of our smaller squares. So maybe I'll just like rip a section and then I'll put it on like, oh, this area is quite plain. I'll just put it into the corner over here. And then I'll do something similar over here. And then it might look a little off right now just because the edges are so empty, but you can also add washi tape to the edges as well. For example, you can just add one over here. And the great thing about washi tape is if you don't like the position, you can pretty easily rip it off and move it somewhere else since it doesn't tend to damage the paper. So you can just add like small little washi tapes like this. And if you have multiple washi tapes, like you can use multiple ones as well. Maybe I don't want one here because I'll add some other decoration, but this is a nice way to add washi tape just to a spread. And cutting it up, I think, is quite a nice tip just because you can get a smaller size, which can be better for different types of spreads. Can add another one over here. And then the last part of the spread, I guess, will be creating a nice little to-do list or reflection list. So what I'll do is stick a little sticky note over here. And then using the checklist washi tape, I'll just place it down. And then cut the amount of squares I want. And this is a really nice list you can just have on top. And on this list, maybe I can write down some of those reoccurring to-dos or the goals of the month or the goals of the next month. Maybe I'll write down some of the goals I've achieved. So maybe I've been drinking 8 cups of water every day. And you just add a little check mark. The great thing about this checklist is it's really versatile. So depending on what you want, you can use it for your goals of the month that you've achieved, the goals for next month, things you have to do, things you want to do, maybe some habits you want to keep track of. Maybe I've been exercising every day, or maybe I want to exercise next month. So I'll say like exercise more next month. And then you can just go down and think about this. I'll just write like a couple filler things so we can see how it'd look if we had a full list. Like maybe I want to clean up dust, water plants, clean up room. And the nice thing is you don't have to fill out all the checkboxes you've written because sometimes it can be difficult to think of just the right number of things. So you can leave it blank. I think that looks quite good as well. And then you can have a nice simple spread like this. Another washi tape you could use, or there's actually a couple different sticky note options you could use. You could use this checklist one instead, and you could just maybe like stick one over here and do similar things. That's just one alternative. Another thing is Muji actually has this other type of sticky note that's kind of translucent. So you could do the same thing and you can have it placed on top and also just write some things or flip it around. I think that looks really nice as well. And then if I had some other sticky notes or stickers, I would just use that to decorate the spread. And then the spread would be pretty much done. So let's just say let's add a cat to one corner. The translucent sticky notes also from Muji. I got it about 2 years ago, so I'm not completely sure if they still have it.
Yeah, I'll just jump in to let you know that I don't think we sell those anymore, or at least I haven't seen them in a while. They may come back. Sometimes we do get items like that back. So stay tuned. I really hope they do come back because they are very, very cool.
Yeah, they're really cool. The material is actually like really thick as well. Sorry, really thick as well. So it's quite sturdy and I really enjoy it. And yeah, for other decoration, you can just have like a little cat over here, or you could rearrange it and like maybe put it off to the side on this sticky note. This will look kind of like one of the plans or rough drafts I've showed you guys before where we had this cat. And if you had other sticky notes or doodles, you can do that over here. And I think if the spread looks a little empty, I like to just draw little stars or little dots or little kind of like leaves. And I think this will fill the space really well. It's very simple to do and it adds a lot of decoration. And you can just do this around the spread. And I think this is probably one of my go-to spreads because it's simple to do, but it's quite versatile because you can mix up the colors. Maybe I want to like underline the title for some color. Maybe I want to like highlight some of these washi tapes. So I could just add that. And yeah, that's about it for the spread. And one of the questions is there ways to keep the stickies work after being in the pack for a longer time and not to waste them? I guess like I also do have double-sided tape or like it's kind of like a roll of sticky tape. So sometimes when the sticky notes don't stick too well, I'll just add some of this or add some glue and then I guess I'll replace the sticky part of the sticky note and make sure it doesn't go to waste. One of the questions about my thoughts on tracking habits or recurring to-do list. I guess you can do this with this option. This is quite simple. I guess it might be kind of harder to track. You could also add just like a small legend with a sticky note, maybe for every day that I achieved my goal of not eating candy. Like maybe I could add a small dot over here and I could do this every day I've achieved that goal. And I think that would be really nice to see how your habits have been forming. Yeah, I think that's about all the questions I see. And that's about it for this spread.
Thank
I
you so
hope you
much. Yeah, thank you so much, Alexis. We are up for the hour. Thank you, all of you, for coming by today and learning something new or maybe brushing up on your skills. I hope that everyone had a lot of fun. We will be uh, uploading this on our YouTube afterwards. So if you miss anything, don't worry, you can rewatch it again later. And I just want to say thank you to Alexis as well for joining us tonight and showing us how you set up your monthly bullet journal spread and also your desk. It's very motivating for the new year to get it cleaned up just like you have it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Muji, and thank you so much everyone for coming. I hope you enjoyed the workshop today.
Yes, I hope you all did. And I hope you have a lovely day or evening or night wherever you are. And that's everything from us. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.